focus determines your reality.
Hello there.
General Kenobi!
You don't know the power of the dark side.
And welcome back to Disciples of the Force podcast. I'm your host, Spencer Silva, along with my co-host, Austin Hyatt.
Howdy.
Honestly, dude, the vibes are off. We can already tell.
Yeah.
Someone was 15, 20 minutes late. Don't want to go into that at all.
Yeah, and somebody else has a midterm they could be doing with those 15 minutes, but no big deal. No big deal.
I didn't know. You didn't tell me. No, I'm sorry. I was late. So most likely going to be a shorter episode. It was going to be regardless. So.
Yeah. We're just covering Andor. Everybody's seen it, hopefully. If you haven't, I hope you're, if you listen to this podcast and you like it, I hope you're watching along with us as we do.
Yeah, honestly, yeah. If you're listening, hop on. You can start watching. Start episode 1. If you missed it, jump on episode 2. You could, crush it. It'll be fun.
Yeah.
Any Star Wars news? Oh, I know we didn't look at all.
I didn't look at all.
It's my fault. I ruined this whole vibe. I came late, and I'm sorry to everyone.
You're fine.
I'm sorry.
One bit of news is we know that the actors in the studios came to an agreement. Or not the actors in the studios, the writers in the studios. New news in the actor strike. The studios have walked away from the table, saying they're not going to even negotiate for now.
Oh, really?
So the shows that we thought were going to be okay might still be screwed.
Wow.
Yeah.
They walked away?
Yeah. Which is super stupid. I saw this number that it would cost the studios 57 cents per subscription to meet all the demands of the actors, not even mentioning what they've already done for the writers. It'd be 57 cents per subscription, and they're not doing it.
What wieners?
Which is crazy because Disney Plus, which doesn't even have anything on it except for everything we talk about, it's going up by $6.
Yeah.
And our Hulu is going up by $5. It's but you can't spare 57 cents of that. It's crazy.
Yeah, that's, oh my goodness. Especially because it's somebody, I also saw another one that was if they would have just gave them what they wanted in the very beginning, they wouldn't have lost all this money.
Yeah. Lost hundreds of millions just wasting time. It's crazy.
That's greed for you. It's sweet, beautiful greed.
It's messed up. One of my most anticipated movies for the rest of the year, Bike Riders, got pushed back, and that's got Jodie Comer. Is that her name?
No idea.
She plays Rey's mom for 1.5 seconds in The Rise of Skywalker.
Oh,
so that's Star Wars news.
There you go.
Other than that, that's it.
Other than that's all we have. Yeah. All right. And if you're listening, we talked about some formats that people like, okay, and people like the lore, of course. Why would you not like the lore? It's beautiful, deep.
Mm-hmm.
Along with that, I think if you have time, Austin, you're a busy fella. Dooku Jedi Lost has been phenomenal.
The book?
That book.
You started it?
I've started. I'm halfway through it.
Dang, nice.
It's really, really good.
Okay.
It gives you the background of Dooku and what he's going through, and apparently I didn't know this. This is Star Wars related, of course.
Right.
How I don't know if this changed at one point. We've never seen it, or maybe but at least in Dooku's time, when they were gonna select when you're gonna get your master, when you were a Padawan, you had to go through a trial, right? And they had to battle each other in this one. He had to battle his friend blindfolded, and then your master would choose you. Which I didn't know that.
Oh, I don't know if I knew that either. The blindfolding part, at least. I knew there were trials before you. Yeah.
Right. And I knew that as well. I didn't know how in depth this was. And it was it kind of reminded me of a Hunger Games thing. Every year it's different. One year they simulate a hurricane and they have to fight in the hurricane.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's kind of cool.
That's nuts.
So this one was they had to fight each other blindfolded. And it was Sifo Dyas, who we've heard before.
Right.
In Star Wars, who commissions for the clones to be created.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And it's touched on in Clone Wars again. His whole thing. Anyway, him and Dooku are best friends.
Right.
And so it's really cool. I really like it.
Very cool.
You might not like it because it kind of reminds me of Harry Potter, the way the book's kind of formatted.
Yeah. We're done. Let's stop talking about it right now.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Just kidding.
Yeah, it's a good book. It's short. It's not very long.
Okay, I'll give it a read.
Yeah.
When this semester's done. I haven't done any leisurely reading because I've been really
just graduate.
Anyway,
no, just graduate.
I'll just graduate. Yeah,
it's
anyway.
Dude. When you graduate,
dude, I'm
so
sure
much
it's
easier.
crazy good. Man.
You'll be on cloud 9, and then you'll find how to still waste time even though you have all the time in the world.
Sure.
So
It's insane. Okay. One bit of news. This is huge for you. I don't know if you saw the TikTok I sent you earlier, but I just confirmed this online. Minecraft Star Wars Path of the Jedi DLC coming November 7th.
I did see that.
I thought that was like a mod. I didn't know it was actually
No,
from
it's really
Minecraft.
it's
That's crazy.
I'm gonna buy it.
So, how much is? I'll look this up, but I'll get Minecraft and play that with you.
Whatever,
if you-
dude. You've said that so many times.
Dude, I said it once last week, and you didn't even follow up, so we couldn't even do it, dude.
I just felt like you were pulling my leg. You were out mining for diamonds, and I knew you weren't gonna be here.
Yeah, it was literally mining for diamonds in Bono.
Literally.
Okay, sweet.
Yeah. Anyway, so that's some good news. If you're a Minecraft lover like me, you're really excited.
Yeah.
Anyway. All right. Well, let's jump into Andor.
Okay, let's do it.
Sorry, I was looking up news. I didn't see anything, and then I
No,
saw
you're
this
all good.
YouTube video that said Star Wars 2024-2025 slate announcements, but it's just what they announced at Star Wars
Right.
Celebration.
And all of that's probably changed, which is
Yeah.
so unfortunate. But anyway, we can talk about what we already have.
That's right. Well, we can admire what God's given us on this beautiful earth,
That's right.
which is Andor.
Beautiful. And he gave us Andor. Yeah.
I mean, to start off, night and day difference between this and Ahsoka.
Yeah.
Like, it's just so much prettier, filmed better. The dialogue, I
Yeah.
was like, wow, this is like, and it's mature. It's very
Mhm.
mature for it. Like, it's a brothel. They're in a brothel. That's dope.
Yeah. Yeah, it's higher production value in every single way. And we liked Ahsoka. You know,
Right, I love
we haven't been shy about that.
Right.
And there's a place for Ahsoka in Star Wars, of course. And I don't know which one was more popular. I know at least when Andor first came out, there wasn't a lot of viewership. People didn't like how slow it was, how methodical it was, because most Star Wars fans have like 3 brain cells, including us. But I really, really, I mean, I have a poster behind me if you're watching on YouTube of Cassian Andor. I've always talked about how much I love Andor, and it's because that production value is so much higher. Like you said, the dialogue, the visuals, they don't do a lot in the volume.
No.
In fact, I remember before it came out, I was super pumped for it because I saw this interview where they were with the cast of Andor, and they were like, what's it like using all the stagecraft stuff, like the volume? And they were like, we don't know. We don't really use it much. I think there's like 1 or 2 scenes every once in a while. I think the junkyard scenes are probably in the volume from what it seems. But anyway, most of it's shot on location on a real set. And I think that's what lends itself to, I think that is what makes it more palpable, you know?
No, I agree 100%. I think it gives it such an edge compared to the rest.
Yeah.
It's such a simple thing they've been doing for years that they went away from to go back to. So, I mean, the first thing that I remember when I started this is like I didn't realize how much the beginning reminds me of Blade Runner, like kind of the
Yes.
downtown thing with like the bubble.
The bubbles, the lights, the
Yeah.
music.
Yep.
Totally Blade Runner.
Yeah, I was like,
Yeah.
no, I never realized this before.
Yeah.
So that was really cool. And then I really did like, I don't know what I was thinking about this when, so I'm fast forwarding outside of the brothel when he was after. Did you have anything about you want to talk
No,
about that?
no.
Okay. So when he's out there and there's the 2 guards right that come up to him.
Yeah.
And they're like, he's like, I got 300 credits for you, yada, in my pocket. And I'm like, all right, get it. He's like, I'm not moving my hands.
Yeah.
Which I'm like, that's like a real fear that happens with a lot. I mean, a lot of people with police officers like, I'm not gonna move,
Right.
make you think I'm gonna kill you. But also plays perfectly into it. Like it plays into him being scared, but it plays into his plan of attacking him.
Right.
Which is super awesome. And then I forgot he killed both of them. In my mind, I
know.
thought it was just one.
It's dark, and that scene's
Yeah,
intense.
That's a very intense scene.
Like the way the second officer is like begging on his knees.
Yeah.
And he's like, we'll go in together. It's fine. We'll make up the story. We're fine. And then he just shoots him in the
Yeah.
face. I forgot how intense that was. It's awesome.
That's some dark, good, mature
Yeah.
Star Wars.
Yeah.
That's the Star Wars fandom that we need. You know,
It's
you're
so
getting
good.
older. Yeah.
But I mean, just like Rogue One, the first time we ever see Cassian Andor, he
Yeah,
shoots
kills
his informant.
buddy.
You know,
Yeah. But this one you can tell and that's also the cool part. You see the level of how much he's changed because this is before, and so he's hesitant, like
Yeah.
thinking about it, like, and then in Rogue One, he's just like, this is the only choice I have. I got to do
Yeah.
it. So
it's
very
awesome
cool.
parallels.
Yeah.
It's great.
Yeah. I was gonna say something. Oh, I talked to you about this in the beginning. Well, not the beginning. Oh, after I had watched it, I do like that he comes from the tribe, you know,
Mhm.
because they don't need to explain why he has an accent. There's no reason to explain
Yeah.
that at all. And they probably didn't do this for this reason at all, but it plays perfectly into it. Like it's
Right.
I doubt they sat there and said, "Oh, we got to explain this." I don't think that's what they did, but it goes into cool of how he has an accent because he's our sweet Diego Luna's our sweet Mexican king. Is
Yeah,
he
we love
Mexican?
him. He is Mexican.
Yeah, he's Mexican. I got nervous. Who's from? Well, someone who's big is from Colombia and Narcos, Mexico. Rafa, where's he from?
Rafa is also Mexican.
Oh, he is.
Tenoch Huerta.
Someone was. Because you remember you said, "Oh, he's got a weird accent," but maybe it's a
Yes.
lesser character.
I think it's the cousin. Wait, I don't remember.
someone in that show.
Anyway, yeah, go watch Narcos
That's
Mexico too. Narcos and Narcos Mexico. But if you're a Star Wars, well, no, if you're a Star Wars fan, watch either one because the Mandalorian, Pedro Pascal's in Narcos, and Diego's in Narcos Mexico.
Right. But if you want to hear Diego Luna speak English, then don't watch it.
Yeah, yeah, that's true. He doesn't do that.
No, he's a really good actor. I like him a lot. And I love his droid B2EMO, something like
Yeah.
that. Yeah. He's it's like the first droid I actually like feel bad for when he's like processing and he can't because he's just
Yeah.
so
And really unique design. Everything about this show is
yeah.
great.
It's a great show. Honestly, if you've never, I can't see you not have seen this before. I try to say that I can't see people not have watching this, listening to this podcast. That's what I wanted to say.
I don't know. I think a lot of the fans that I talk to haven't seen it.
You watch it, literally watch it.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
It's prestige TV,
Right.
but Star Wars.
Yeah, like it's not the best thing you'll ever see in your life, but if you're comparing it to
Right.
what they've done for Star Wars series, you'll notice a big difference.
Yeah, this was the first show to come out right after Book of Boba Fett, right?
Yeah, and I think
mean,
that's why I was out.
Yeah, the transition from Boba Fett to Andor almost gave me an aneurysm. Like it's insane. Not even on the same
Exactly.
planet.
Oh man. I did like how also when he's walking down the street, how later on in the episode when he's walking, he when he's back in his hometown after he comes back to his home planet, he like shows all the species that like a lot of species I've never seen before.
Yeah.
which is really cool because it shows you just how deep the Star Wars universe is, which is awesome.
Right.
And then also Bix is just hot. She's beautiful. So
Yeah.
that's always a treat.
Oh my gosh, she is. It's insane when she takes that mask off first. And I follow her on Instagram. Like I see her pretty much daily, you know. I know how hot she is. When she takes that mask off, I'm like, holy cow.
Takes you back.
Yeah. Yeah. No,
Yeah.
you mentioning the aliens is a really great point. And not to like bash on other Star Wars TV shows and compare it that much. But like Obi-Wan Kenobi, there were no aliens like in the background usually. I mean, there were when they're on like that Hong Kong looking planet and stuff like that. But I just like looking in the background of, because I think this will be like my third time watching Andor, looking in the background of every scene, the attention to detail, and like some guy sat in a makeup chair for 4 or 5 hours to
Yeah.
get dressed up like this alien, to not even like be a main part of what's seen on the screen.
Yeah.
That's the attention to detail that I love, and that's why I think I like it so much.
That's a good point. I didn't even think of that. Yeah, they probably sat there for hours just to walk past
Yeah.
in the background.
Yeah.
Crazy. But along with that though, I mean, there was something I was gonna say and I can't remember. But it was about the working class. It's cool how it kind of shows you the lower level, right?
Yeah.
Like the people who have to go. Do they work on a mine? I don't know. It looks like the parallel looks like they look on the mine. His buddy who's coming out to grab his gloves
Right.
and get on the shuttle and move out.
I think they just work in the scrapyards.
scrapyard.
I don't know.
Anyway, but it's cool because like you see this like a lower level of the Star Wars universe.
Yeah.
So that's also really just fun. You know,
Yeah.
you're seeing parts of the Star Wars you didn't see before. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's great.
There's no Jedi in this. I guess that's a huge point too.
Yeah, no, yeah.
You know, so it's like that's even crazier that what Star Wars is. You can still take what it is and the lore of it all and still make an amazing show without even showing the main thing that made it amazing.
Right. And I think that's what I want from Star Wars now is like use the IP to give me something that I've never seen before in this
Mhm.
universe. Whereas a lot of fans just want to keep seeing Jedi and
Right.
that has its place too. I like that too.
Yeah.
But I love this because it's a little bit more refreshing, you know,
Yeah.
to see this every once in a while. I also like what you're saying about it showing the lower class.
Oh.
I like the name of the planet, Ferrix. It's like the Latin word for rust, or for iron, Ferricus. And everything's like red and rusty.
Yeah.
So that's just like the grimy feel that George Lucas was going for when he created this universe. You know, he wanted it to feel lived in. He talks
Right.
about, and this like captures that perfectly. You know,
Wow. I never thought of that. I didn't know that. I'm not a linguist.
well, neither am I.
No, it sounds like you're pretty deep into it, man.
Sure.
One thing I also just like part of the dialogue that I like is like going back to I looked up the name of the department that what's that main guy who works for the Empire. He's like very clean cut. He's like throughout the whole thing. He's the guy who wants to. Sorry, I can give you a better description. He's the guy who's trying to figure out who murdered him.
In this episode,
Yeah, sorry.
so he doesn't work directly for the Empire at this point.
So that's right. He's like on some sub.
It's like a security detail that reports sometimes to the Empire, but like out of their jurisdiction. I can't remember his name though. I literally watched it today.
I don't remember.
I was
his
writing
name.
a paper while I watched it. Let me see.
But I mean, cool things like he even gets called out right in the beginning about how he's like, did you alter your uniform?
Yeah.
And once he said that, I didn't pay attention before. But if you look, everyone's just so baggy and loose, and it shows that he's like such an uptight person. His things like very well kempt, and it's also very tight, tailored, which says a lot about his character and how much he cares. But the one thing I did find interesting is in that scene when he's talking to the main guy.
Yes.
I it's like he's just trying to cover it up. The main guy's like, I just say they saw someone in distress, they went to help them, yada yada yada. I'm like, shows. I mean, there's just like how real that is. Like that could like kind of remind me of the mob almost. You know?
Absolutely, yeah. Just like those levels of corruption.
Yeah.
But honestly, watching it, I was like, yeah, I mean that makes sense.
Yeah.
Because he's like, they're at a brothel, which we aren't supposed to have. They're on the job. They shouldn't be able to afford a brothel, and they're drinking Revnog, which we also shouldn't have.
Right.
Like, we just need to cover it up.
Right.
You're like, yeah, that's the answer right here. That guy's name is Cyril Karn. Cyril. I
Sounds
think
like
they pronounce
Cyril with an accent. Cyril.
And he's eating cereal like the whole.
That's right. He does. Yeah. Maybe that's why he's named.
Dude, he's an industry plant.
Oh
Jeez.
no! It's an industry plant.
No, I love that scene. And the guy that plays opposite him, the leader of the Prolax. What is it? Not Prolax. That sounds like a laxative medicine.
It's something pro in letters. I don't know. I don't know.
Anyway,
I looked it up
sorry,
before.
we watched this today. We can't even think of these names. This is like a throwback to our first episode, Wayne. We just had no names on it in our heads.
Yeah.
Anyway, the guy that plays Cyril Karn, Kyle Solar. I don't love this. This is my least favorite character in the show because he's like a little too cartoony, a little too over the top. But I think the guy, Kyle, plays him well. The actor does. But he's just like totally, anyway.
Yeah.
Just a little over the top. And then in contrast to the villain that we see later, Dedra Miro, the girl who works for ISB.
Yeah.
She's like spectacular
Mhm.
in my eyes. Just an awesome, intimidating character.
Yeah.
So it's just kind of a weird contrast there.
And then while I was watching this is a little bit. It happens in the series. It doesn't happen in the episode. And this is actually reminding me. So, in the book I'm reading, it's funny that Yoda. They talk about the Sith, and Yoda's like, "It's not possible," yada yada yada, which we see again later on in Star Wars.
Right.
That they're all like, "It's not. The Sith aren't real. It's not a thing. It's not a threat." And I'm like, we've talked about it before, but it's just like so interesting, just how you would think eventually these people would learn.
Yeah.
I mean, you got Empire rebels, like the rebels aren't a threat. You have Jedi Sith. Oh, the Sith are not a threat.
Mm.
The New Republic, and like it just keeps going, and it's just like we talked about it before, the cycle. But it's just really funny when you really think about it. Like not one person isn't like, hey, looking at history, we've not taken these threats very seriously.
Yeah.
Maybe we should buckle down and actually listen.
Yeah.
Because we talk about the arrogance, when we watched Ahsoka, how they were like, oh, whatever.
Yeah. And Balin wanted to break that cycle,
Right.
Like he acknowledges it.
So I don't know. That to me is very interesting. That like it's just the Star Wars trope. It's just so rooted into it. But I just find it funny.
I mean, all fiction. Not that this is fiction, I totally believe it. But like the Nephites, the Nephites are like that.
Right.
Little Book of Mormon reference for you non-believers. But no, in fiction, it's always about like not giving the underdog the time of day, and then the underdog beats you,
Yeah.
or falling to your pride.
Right.
So
That was really good.
thanks, man.
And the last thing I just have here about the whole episode is I love how Cassian's character, like, he just shows, like, they do so good in this first episode, showing how he's a little bit, like, I don't want to say shady, that's not the right word, but like his dealing with people, like he owes this guy money, and he's like, oh, I'll give it to you, and he's like, ah, and they're like, hey, you can't be here. He's like, no, I'm gonna take the ship tomorrow. He's like, you can't take it tomorrow.
Right.
With Bix, he's bargaining, please, like, really does a really great job to show like this is who he is as a character.
Yeah, it's a great point, and that's why he's such a great, like, morally gray representation of the rebellion, because he just does what he needs to do to survive. Like, I don't think he's necessarily a good person or a bad person. Like, he's a survivor, you know?
Right.
And that's why in Rogue One, it's such a refreshing take, because we've always believed that everything's so black and white. You know, the rebellion's good, the Empire's bad. Whereas Cassian, like, shows a little bit darker side to the rebellion, which is so cool. That's what this whole series is about, is like the dark side of the rebellion.
Yeah, which is so, like, yeah, because like you gotta do some questionable things if you're gonna dethrone the Empire,
Right?
You know, and it goes along with Saw Gerrera, you know, which
Exactly.
Which is, we don't see him at all. Is he mentioned in Andor this first season? I don't remember.
Yeah, he is.
Okay.
He's in it.
He's in it.
Yeah.
Who plays him? Oh,
Forrest Whitaker.
Duh.
Yeah.
In my mind, I'm thinking Clone Wars when they had him younger.
Oh yeah, no.
But that
No,
makes
he's
sense.
still
Duh.
he's old. He's like near the end of his life,
Yeah.
within the last 2 years of his life.
Yeah, that was silly of me. I'm sorry.
Yeah, you're good.
No,
but
I'm
yeah,
sorry.
Luthen goes to his planet and meets with him.
I don't remember the scene at all. I'll have to.
Well, that's why we're rewatching it.
Yeah. Interesting. Huh. Very interesting. That's all I had. What, did you have anything else you liked about the episode?
No, I did acknowledge to Spencer before we started that this wasn't released alone. This first episode, when Andor first came out, it was the first 2 episodes. Because I was writing a paper while I was watching it, and then the episode ended, and I was like, "Oh my gosh! Like, that seems so abrupt. I want to watch the next one." But we're just reporting on the first one. But let me see if there's anything else I liked. I don't know. I like the stakes. Like, from the beginning, we see how high the stakes are for Cassian, you know?
Right.
When he has to kill those guards, we know what we're in for.
Yeah.
And that's again, sorry to talk about the other series, but like, we were complaining about there being no stakes in Ahsoka, you know?
Right.
You know nobody's going to die. You know nothing's going to go wrong. It's all going to play out how it has to.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe that also has to do with, we know how Cassian's life ends. Like, we know we've seen his death on Scarif in Rogue One. So everything he does is that much more important. Like, we know he's going to get out of it. We know he's going to be fine. But that's why it's nice when something surprising does happen and the stakes are high, because it takes us by surprise, you know?
Yeah, and I think that is, I mean, for him, like, right now, when you think about it, like, at this moment in time, he's not a key member of anything. He's not on really anyone's radar.
No, he's a loner.
A little loner guy. And so it's like, it's him against the world right now. Like, he just committed murder.
Yeah.
He gets caught for this, he's done for.
Yeah.
So I really, and you know, like you're saying, the stakes are high for him.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, and I love watching shows that you're like, oh, anything can happen. Like, right now watching The Sopranos, and it's just like, anybody's gonna die at any point.
Yeah.
Like, you may love this character, but guess what? They can rip him out, and that's what's
Same
fun
with
to
Game
watch.
of Thrones, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, I had to step aside, but of course, Game of
Sure,
Thrones.
Sure. I'll watch one of those one of these days.
I mean, if you got time, I think you would like Sopranos a lot more.
Yeah.
I don't know, I love mob movies. I love the mafia.
I love mob movies too. Have
So-
you seen The Irishman?
That's the only one I've not seen. Oh, that's not true. I haven't seen Casino.
Have you seen Goodfellas?
I've seen Goodfellas. I love Goodfellas.
Casino's so good.
I need to watch Casino. Every time someone talks about it, they talk about the eye getting popped out, and it makes me scared to watch it.
No.
Is it gruesome? Because in my mind, I'm thinking real gruesome.
You're watching The Sopranos and you just watched Game of Thrones. It's not
Nothing like that.
It's not going to compare. I don't think.
All right,
not that bad. I haven't seen
I'm
those.
throwing up. Like, "Urgh."
I haven't seen those, but the eye popping thing did not bother me.
Did not bother you. Okay, that's like the only. It's not even like the only reason I haven't watched it. It's just like when I hear Casino, that's what I think of.
Well, it's great. It's worth the watch.
I gotta
Watch
it.
that and then The Irishman
Irishman?
in one day. It'll be a 6-hour day, but it'll be worth it.
Well, now hold on. Now wait a minute.
What did you just say? I wanted to comment on it. right before
stakes
that.
are high,
Oh, the stakes are
people
high.
die.
Yeah. You mentioned that like if he gets caught, he's done for, like for murdering 2 people, right?
Yeah.
And then later in the series, we see him. Spoiler, by the way. Did we give a spoiler alert? Sorry, if you've listened this far, we ruined the whole first episode for you.
I think
But-
for me, I didn't even think about it because it's been out for so long. But yeah, if you
so
haven't seen
whatever.
it, sorry.
Later on in the season, when he gets imprisoned by the Empire for literally just like running away from a guard, and he wasn't even the one running; he's just in the wrong place on the wrong time.
Yeah. I think
And they
it's
just give him these false charges, and that's a life imprisonment.
yeah.
Like they gave him a term, but then we find out later that they're in there for life. So yeah, imagine what happens if you kill 2 people, or what he's going to do later. That's why I think I like it so much. Is it builds up the stakes, and then you're like Cassian's in a spot where he can't go back ever.
Yeah.
So
Just kick that. Right. Yeah. It's. I love that scene. Is so crazy because also you think that. Oh my goodness! What's the robot's name? The droid K. Is it K?
K2SO.
Yeah. You think?
I think.
¿Qué es eso?
¿Qué es eso?
You think that it's gonna be him in that same scene?
Oh yeah, yeah.
and
forgot that.
I love that. Like, see, that's a great tease. You're like, oh, here we go.
Yeah.
Oh, that's not that at all, which is
Yeah.
awesome. Really cool.
That is great.
And I also forgot while watching this that a huge whole plot point is him trying to find his sister.
Yes, that's one thing. That is one thing I don't like about this series that much. Because by the 3rd episode, his mom just says, "Stop looking for your sister," and then it's just dropped.
But I mean, I
Like-
think it'll come to play in the second season.
I don't know.
You don't think it would?
Maybe it will. I don't know. If it ever comes out,
Don't say that.
I know. Knock on wood. Knock on fake wood.
Takes fake wood that's been screws have been driven
Yeah.
from the top.
Maybe on this second watch, I'll be like, oh, okay, it makes sense why he dropped his sister so quickly. Like, I'm sure she's dead.
You think she's
Sure.
dead?
I mean, it seems like pretty definitive that the mom has some insider information onto why he should stop looking. She's pretty clear about it.
Yeah, or maybe her mind got wiped.
Maybe.
She'll just never remember him. But what if it's like Anakin and Shiv? Not Shiv. What the hell is his mom's name?
Andors?
No,
Or
I almost said Zach.
Oh.
Anakin.
Shmi.
Shmi. Who's Shiv? Oh, that's off of what's that TV show called? Succession.
Oh. Jeez.
Anyway,
Stop watching other TV.
I can't.
Jeez.
Well, yeah, what if it's one of those situations where he'll come upon her and she's dying?
Yeah.
Could be one of those.
Up on his sister.
Yeah,
Okay.
nothing.
No. Well, I will say, if you are listening to this podcast, give us some suggestions for what you want to hear about, because that's what we want to go off of, is give you what you want. I will say, once you're done looking, my friend Banta did give me a counter suggestion to what we talked about last week. Not a counter. I shouldn't say counter.
Well, you did.
I did. But he said his submission for most important duel is Anakin when he walks into Mace Windu and Palpatine.
That
Sidious.
is a very good one. That's a very influential one and important as well.
Yeah, sitting right in front of our noses. 'Cause, I mean, that's what
That
is the
leads him-
definitive
yeah.
term. Like,
Oh my
he kneels
gosh.
down and pledges his allegiance to Palpatine right there after that.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, you know what? Good job, Banta. You son of a gun.
Son of a goodness.
Yeah, I think that's a strong argument because I mean you could say Qui-Gon dying leads the whole way it's going, and
Yeah.
then the definitive moment of where it's all solidified is when he goes against Windu.
Right.
I was thinking about this today. What would you think? Like, I know we're against having, spin-offs of Jedi and being in the Skywalker, but what if there was a recast? It would be hard to do because it's Samuel L. Jackson, but of like a show or a movie of Mace Windu. I would like that, but I don't know if I'd want. Like, I think people would want when he's younger. That's how it'd be. But anyway, I'm just saying, or if they could throw it in, spice it into like Tales of the Jedi. I want to know why he's just so he hates Anakin. Not hates, but he's just so like, and it's never really explained why exactly.
Yeah.
he just always is that way. I'm like, is there just a definitive moment of why he's this way? Like, I can never get a read from him.
I think Mace is like so by the book that he doesn't like that Anakin isn't. Like,
That's
for
fair.
example, he's the main protester when they're talking about letting him into the Order. He's
Yeah.
like, the child's too old. It's not going to work, you know?
Yeah.
And I think it's just because he's by the book and Anakin's the least conventional Jedi probably ever, you know?
Yeah.
Well, I don't know about that.
From what we've seen,
Yeah.
I'd say, yeah.
One of the least conventional Jedi ever, whereas Mace is like totally committed to the way that they've established. So I think he just resents him for that a little bit.
Yeah,
But I'm sure it's deeper. You know, there's more.
I don't know. Like, that's what I want to know. Like, does he have visions of Anakin turning, and that's why he's scared, but he doesn't say anything? Like, I don't know. Like, is there something that he's more in tune with the Force, and he's like, I just don't feel it. I don't know. You know?
Yeah, I'd love more background on any of those guys. If they made like a little series that was like Tales of the Jedi, just 3 short episodes about every member of the
Oh my
council, dude.
gosh,
I'd
that
go
would be
nuts for that.
amazing.
Yeah.
I would love that. I mean, you know, because you could just like how they did with Dooku or even Ahsoka, how she shows when she was little,
Yeah.
how she was founded. Yeah, I think it'd be awesome. I mean, that's one thing I've learned that I do love, just backgrounds, origins, because going into Dooku, like, it's like revealed that his dad hates Jedi, and that's why he called the Seekers to come and take
Right.
Count Dooku away. When it's like, damn, that's such a influential, like, it's such a huge part of his character. Like, hey, like, I was not wanted as a child. I was kicked off my
Yeah.
planet for being a Jedi, for being just who I am. And,
Right.
and then I go to the Jedi, and I haven't gotten to the part of why he wants to leave. I mean, we have ideas and reasons. You know, he's just kind of different in that aspect. But anyway.
No, yeah, great point. Like we talk about how we don't want them to revisit characters we already have enough on, but a lot of those Jedi we just don't have a lot of background on. Like, if you're going just off the movies, like Dooku, he gets probably 20 minutes of screen time. Like, he's not,
Yeah.
maybe more than that. Maybe I'm minimizing it.
No, I mean, when I was scrubbing to get some footage of him, you have to go pretty far. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, because he's only in Clone Wars and
Yeah, he's only in Attack of the Clones
and
for like maybe 20, 30 minutes.
right. His is very short in that,
And then
Revenge.
in Revenge of the Sith
which is
for
yeah,
30
that's true.
or 3 minutes, you know.
Because Attack of the Clones, like the biggest scene you can get of him is when he's talking to Obi-Wan.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Yeah.
so, go ahead.
So, yeah. Like, the Tales of the Jedi on him totally changed my perception of everything about him just from those 3 episodes, you
Yeah.
know. So, if they did that for everybody, I'd be most excited for Mace.
Yeah, that would be awesome. Because
People, yeah. Sorry, go ahead.
I was just say the only black Jedi in the galaxy.
Yeah, ever.
The only black guy, really.
Yeah.
It's
Him and Lando.
like you're living in Utah over there.
Yeah, seriously. Jeez. But, you know, that would be great. A lot of people want a Mace Windu after Revenge of the Sith because they think he survived.
Yeah,
think-
I don't
think-
want that.
I don't want that either.
I hate surviving stories.
Yeah, it minimizes Luke's thing. Did we talk about this a couple episodes ago? I think we did.
We
like
talked-
if there's way too many Jedi. Anyway,
Yeah, exactly. Yes, we did talk about that.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, but also, like, the other reason why I don't like it is we're saying these freaking lightsabers are powerful. I mean, he fell out of a window. Like, you can't survive.
in that defense, that's like the least convincing Jedi death ever.
I mean,
Because
falling.
we see them jump from like unimaginable heights. Like Ahsoka,
Yeah.
Siege of Mandalore, she jumps from like
Yeah,
30,000
that's
feet.
All right, I'll give you that. Well,
And
and
it's
then,
fine the whole time.
I think you're right. Falling, you don't die in Star Wars because Palpatine technically didn't die. Darth Maul didn't technically die. We think Tech might be alive.
Yeah. So,
So
especially if you have the Force to like catch you,
Yeah,
where
it's
you can
true.
just push off the ground, you're fine.
yeah, I don't know. I don't want him to be alive. Just let.
I don't want him to be
I want
alive.
people to be dead.
Let him die. And we don't need to bring back an 80-year-old. How old is he? He's 75
He's
at least.
old, yeah, he's old, man.
75-year-old Samuel L. Jackson to play that.
Yeah, you don't. There's no need to. And I mean, we I don't want to beat the dead horse, but we've talked about don't freaking de-age or whatever either. Just put him out there. I mean, Anakin's like Hayden Christensen. That makes sense. I'm fine with that
Yeah.
face de-aging, but like Luke, they just recast him.
Yeah.
But anyway,
They definitely should have done that, especially because the guy they got
it
looks
was
exactly like him.
It's whatever. It's whatever, man. I'm sick of it. I'm tired of talking about it every week with the gabagoo.
I've got a little recasting here, a little recasting article. These people recasted all of the.
To who should play it now?
Yeah,
Interesting.
I think I forgot how to use the internet. Lately, I've been going to like articles, and I think there's a paywall, but it doesn't say there's a paywall anywhere. It's like this continues after this ad. Then an ad never pulls up. Anyway, that's what's happening here. I just went to scroll, and then it just turns into ads, but there's no like paywall or anything.
Hey,
Okay. Anyway, this says Mace Windu should be Will Smith in a recasting. I think that's horrible,
that's the worst.
especially because
That's
Mace
the worst
Windu's.
cast.
Yeah. Anyway,
So you're saying that Will Smith and Samuel L. Jackson are on the same acting level? I mean, they are in the sense, but like what Samuel L. Jackson brings to a character, Will Smith could never bring that to
Yeah.
a character. Like, I'm not saying Will Smith's a terrible actor. I'm just saying he can't fill the roles of Samuel L. Jackson. Those are some huge shoes. to
that's
fill.
true. He's not like serious or intimidating
Right.
enough.
I mean, I Am Legend. He's great.
Yeah. Have you ever seen that recently?
No,
It's not that good.
is it not that good?
I rewatched it and I was like, this movie kind of sucks. Like 2 weeks ago, but I still love it. It's great.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, Samuel's a totally. I can't think of another actor now that is like that cool and intimidating. If Jonathan Majors didn't beat his girlfriend, which we don't know, jury's still out on that. Literally, he's still at trial. He could play an intimidating Mace Windu, but he's like larger than Samuel L.
Yeah, he's
Jackson.
big.
Looks totally different, but
I mean, and that's the thing I think about it. And like, there's a point where it's just like you're going like you want to make them look similar, but sometimes it's like I think I'd rather sacrifice the looks for some amazing on par acting.
yeah, it depends. Like I think it worked for Lando, where like Billy D. Williams is a different person in my mind from Donald Glover,
Mm-hmm.
who plays him in Solo. But because they have like the same charismatic vibe, I think both the actors and the character, I think it works there. Whereas you look at Alden, who's the guy that plays Solo in Solo.
I don't
Anyway.
know how to pronounce it. I remember I read it one time. I still don't know how to pronounce his name.
He
so,
kind
yeah.
of looks more like Harrison Ford does. He kind of looks more like Harrison Ford than Donald Glover
Glover
looks like
doesn't.
Billy D. Williams. But he doesn't have the same like cool guy vibe and
As-
energy as him
as Gambino did
with Lando.
Yeah,
Yes.
I agree. And that's what I'm okay with. Like I'm like, like I mean, I'm saying get it close, but I'm like, you don't have to hit on the head because I mean,
Yeah.
there are people who are like, okay, one of the biggest examples is Steve Jobs and Ashton Kutcher.
Yes.
Pictures of them, they looked like identical, but the acting in it, I mean, I love that movie. I don't hate it,
Right.
but people hated that movie.
Yeah.
And it's just like that's an amazing example. You got someone who looked exactly like him when he was younger, but since the acting wasn't really there,
Yeah.
people didn't buy into it. So it's like you gotta make it.
It's a great point.
Go ahead.
Have you seen the Michael Fassbender one? Not that we're
Yes,
like on the
I love
topic of
that one.
movies. Which do you like that one more than the Ashton Kutcher one?
At first I didn't, but now I do because it like just from how film like watching movies a lot, you get like artistic looks better. It looks way better. It's
Yeah.
a way better biopic in the sense of for what it is because Steve Jobs with Ashton Kutcher is a way better, more fulfilling story of who Steve Jobs was.
Okay.
It like gives you his whole timeline, how it all came to be, where he was younger and he's older. Like that's a really great timeline.
Right.
With Michael Fassbender, you just get kind of when he's ousted from Apple
Right.
and what was going on in that time. But I mean, night and day difference. It's a way better movie watching it. Like if you like films, you're like, oh, you could tell. Like the acting's really good. There's intense parts. But if you're going for the whole story of what you like, I like Ashton Kutcher's more for who Steve Jobs was. Read the book. It's a great book. Huge book.
Okay. Cool.
Big book.
Cool. Well, good to know. I was just wondering.
No, yeah. I was gonna say something though about one thing about was it acting? Was it recasting? I
been
don't
recast.
recall. I don't recall. Oh well. It's the
Okay,
worst.
sorry, mate.
No. Hey, don't ever be sorry for being who you are. I don't remember. It was something not important, but whatever.
Okay.
Anyway,
Well, I think that's all I have to say.
that's all I have to say. It sucks because it's gonna bother me what this thing is. Like, it was something with for some reason when I look over at that Joe Pesci Goodfellas poster, it's reminding
does it have
me
to
of
do with the Irishman?
no. It's reminding me something about it.
Well, we can just. I mean, if you want to think about it, we can just cut this.
No, I really can't think. I think I'm just gonna put too much pressure on me. I can't perform.
Okay. One point about Joe Pesci. This
Sure.
isn't Star Wars related at all. Just did a podcast. Yeah.
I remember. Go ahead.
Okay, go ahead.
No, I'll remember. It's nothing to do with what we're talking about.
Okay. I just did a film fixation podcast on The Irishman. And that movie was really kind of controversial because they took De Niro and Pesci and Al Pacino and de-aged them digitally, like 40 years. And it genuinely looks very good, but they're still like 80-year-old men who are acting, and they have like these younger faces. So as they walk around, they're like super like hunched over and old. It's like even when digital remastery of faces works, it doesn't.
It doesn't work.
Like it's a recast is
if
better.
you're sitting down, it works.
Yeah, exactly. That movie, you cannot recast those people. They are
That's
like
fair.
iconic actors,
Those are
pillars of modern
yeah.
cinema. But in a Star Wars project, outside of the big three, I could see a Leia recast. That would work for me. A Luke recast.
Yeah.
But now that I've seen Solo, I don't know if we could recast Harrison Ford convincingly.
Right. I mean, because he does. Because that's a good point. Because Mark Hamill, as much as I love him, he's not like this crazy amazing actor.
Yeah, no.
Whereas Harrison Ford is a crazy amazing actor.
Yeah. And it may have to do with the fact that I've seen Harrison Ford in like 20 other movies, whereas like Mark Hamill have not, Carrie Fisher have not.
And
So
that might be with it too. You're right. Because maybe if they did take on more serious roles.
Yeah.
Not saying Star Wars is serious, but I'm saying more like, different types, like branched out to genres. It might be. It would be a lot harder.
Right.
Because you could see what they could do.
Exactly. Okay. What were you going to say?
It was about the recasting, so we're back on it.
'Kay.
Rick and Morty. That's a huge one.
Oh, yeah.
And when I thought everyone's pissed because of Sean, what the heck's his name? Kelly? Sean Kelly. I'm pretty sure it's his name. He's a guy on TikTok who does amazing, like really spot on.
Yeah.
But when everyone's freaking out, I was like, but you got to remember, there's two things that you have to remember. Like, they might be going for improvisation. Like, a lot of Rick and Morty is improv.
Yeah, that's all it is, yeah.
Can he improv? Right?
Right.
Like, does he hit it? Like, is he good at being creative and funny like Justin Roiland was? That's a huge thing they have to take into consideration. And then the second thing you have to take into consideration is, can he even act? Like when he's doing things, there's mainly like him just redoing scenes, and it's like, but can he get into an emotional level?
Can
and
he
be
voice
serious? Can he be sad? Right? And so it's like, because people are like, these guys don't sound like him. I'm like, maybe they're off. You can tell it's a little off.
Right.
But it's like, I think that's the sacrifice you have to make if they can hit those notes, right? Like if
Yes.
they can act, they can make Rick sad or make Morty sad or scared, screaming, and it's not just reading off the page. And I did see something later on where they came out of the studio was like, we heard thousands of auditions, and there was people who it was like, we thought they were great, we brought them in, but just like I was saying, like they couldn't carry a conversation in the voice.
Right. Oh, that's important.
So that's the thing is like it would start to trail off, and it's like, no, we need you. It has to be 100%. So it's like
Right.
going back to what we're talking about. You cast someone that maybe you lose a little bit, but for the overall picture, it stays. It's like you got to go that route.
Right.
So maybe you lose a little bit of how they look for a better acting performance. Absolutely.
Yeah, I'd prefer that.
Or maybe, I don't know. It's like depends on how much you want. Unless it's if it's a short amount of lines, then go for someone who looks like them.
Yeah.
Because you could coach them through like 5 lines.
Exactly.
Anyway, that was what I was gonna say.
Okay. Well, perfect. Well, one thing, speaking of talk acting, voice acting, have you seen that theory that like the reason Hayden Christensen's delivery in the prequels is so awkward is because he's pacing himself like James Earl Jones, Darth Vader?
I have seen that. We've never talked about it.
We've never talked about
that'd be a good thing.
So there's this theory, I pretty much just said all of it, that the reason Hayden Christensen talks the way he does kind of like it's odd to the ear when you first hear it in the prequels is because he's emulating James Earl Jones's voice acting for Darth Vader. And if you pitch his voice down and put it through the Darth Vader filter, it sounds just like Darth Vader when he's talking.
Right. And you and I have the same view on it. That's really cool. And it does, like, when you watch, like, oh, it does have that. I don't think George Lucas was going for that.
That's the thing, is like George Lucas is a great thinker, and we give him a lot of credit for a lot of things. A lot of this stuff that we think is his foresight is just like stuff falling into place for him.
It just kind of fell
which is great, which is awesome. But dude, if you think about the duel on Mustafar between Anakin and Obi-Wan, and you think about Darth Vader's voice in that line delivery, I've brought peace, freedom,
yes,
justice, security to my new empire. Whatever.
That does.
Or if you are not with me, then you're my enemy.
Yeah.
If you pitch that down,
that's
it's convincing to me.
Yeah,
you know?
That's Darth Vader, and
yeah,
maybe I will take that because I mean that was people harped a lot on the performance of Hayden Christensen.
Yeah.
And if I was George Lucas and I saw that floating around, I'd grab it. Yep, that's what I was going for the whole time. I'd jump on that because it does hit. Because when you do listen, you're like, oh yeah, that's like he would deliver it in these ways. You know?
Right. And maybe that wasn't a directorial choice. Maybe that was Hayden Christensen's acting foresight.
True.
I don't know.
Which is something that's funny because it's like, man, I would have never even thought to have done that going into the prequels. Like, I would have never been like, okay, here, like, I mean, maybe they did. Like, we have Darth Vader. This is who he is. This is how he speaks. These are his mannerisms. You are him younger.
Dude, maybe it just started with the conversation we were just having. Like, maybe it started like that. Like, how are we going to address that Darth Vader has a black man's voice with, like, a weird kind of British accent thing going on? And we have this Canadian actor that's coming in to play young Anakin Skywalker.
Yeah.
What are we going to do with that?
Yeah.
So maybe it was a conscious choice.
Yeah,
I don't know.
That's true. And I mean, along with that as well, he could have. I mean, I'm just trying to and I think another thing they could have even argued is like, well, hold on a minute. We're saying Anakin is dead. Darth Vader is a new human being. That's what that's what the whole thing has been, right? Anakin is dead. Anakin Skywalker is dead. So then there's also maybe they went off of that. Like, you can be whoever the hell you want to be. Similar, of course, but you don't have to be exact because Darth Vader kills Anakin.
Yeah, that's true.
So
that's a good point.
It makes this whole transition. So I mean, there's that too. But maybe it did. Maybe they did just sit down and say, "Well, we could do this." I mean, I can't see George overlooking that if it came up.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
I'll text George tonight and I'll get back to you next
I'll
episode.
ask Dave, see if he came up with anything in the room.
See.
If he said anything to him.
Okay, well, that's all I've got for this episode.
That's all I got.
Okay, well,
All right.
thank you for being a disciple of the Force.